Well, one of the things that we launched a few years ago is our Buckeye Blueprint. That's our plan to move Ohio from middle in the Midwest to number one in the nation. And we've taken our team, staff, and activists, supporters have taken a really serious look at what it's going to take to do that here in Ohio. And you get great states like Florida, right? There's a reason it's called the Free State of Florida, and it's not because folks are just hanging out enjoying the beaches. There's folks like Skylar and the AFP Florida team that for a long time have been working really hard to pass bold policies that move the state and make it a top 10 state for economic opportunity, education, and otherwise. And we can do that here in Ohio. We've been doing that, right? We just recently, our most recent budget moved Ohio to a flat income tax, second lowest in the nation, lowest in the Midwest, puts us on a great trajectory to get to that 0% rate we ought to be at. We've got school choice. We're one of the early states on school choice.
Americans are capable of achieving extraordinary things when they have the freedom and opportunity to do so. This is American Potential.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the American Potential Podcast. I'm your host, David Fromm. This year, America is celebrating its 250th year of independence. So we thought it would be fun for us to highlight the states that join the Union each month in a series called 50 Stars, 50 Stories. Each episode explores what makes these states unique, whether it's their history, what they're known for, or just, some fun trivia. Today, we're going to talk about the 4 states that joined in March. And here's a little hit for each of them. The first is known for being part of a breakfast favorite. Another gets its nickname from a tree nut that looks like a deer's eye. One is known for its agriculture industry, and the last is a family vacation destination. Do you know which states we would be talking about today? I want to welcome two of American Prosperity's state directors, Skylar Zander of Florida and Donovan O'Neil from Ohio. So, clearly Florida and Ohio are two of the states that joined in March, but can either of you guess the other two?
Ooh. This is a lot of torture. I mean, it's bad enough we're state directors, but man, this is like going back to elementary school here.
Are there states other than Ohio and Florida that matter?
I mean, I can't argue with Donovan there. I mean, one's got to be Vermont.
Yes. Maple syrup. Yep.
I'm guessing somewhere west of the Mississippi, probably.
I'll give you another hint. They have no professional sports teams. Their college football team was good once upon a time. They're often identified with corn.
Oh, Nebraska.
Yeah, Nebraska.
There it is. You should know that. They're the Big Ten now.
But as David pointed out, their football team.
Well, you know what I love about Nebraska? People from Nebraska love Nebraska. Most of us on the outside don't quite get it, but they do love it, and I love that for them. All right, let's go to the questions. Donovan, this one's for you. When did Ohio join the Union?
Oh gosh, this is embarrassing.
Come on, I'm cheering for you, man.
Any state I live in.
Let's go.
1851?
No. Try for 48 years earlier.
18.
So close.
Oh boy, I should not have signed up for this.
Fortunately, it's not at all a reflection on your policy knowledge or your political acumen in the state.
Thank you.
Yeah, March 1st, 1803. That surprises me.
Wow, so much earlier than Florida.
All right, Skylar, when did Florida join?
1845, I think.
Yes.
March 3rd.
Yeah, there you go. So for our states not represented here on this call, Nebraska joined March 3rd, 1845 also. Interesting. It's kind of like the little brother, I guess, then, to Florida.
Yeah.
And then Vermont leads all with March 4th, 1791. Oh, early adopter there. Do you all know the nicknames?
1851 was when we updated our Constitution. That's why I thought of that.
Oh, that all makes sense.
Just to redeem myself here. There is relevance.
All makes sense.
Thank you, Chat GPT.
This is a flat, straight up game. All right, do you all know the nicknames for each state? So what's Ohio?
Well, we're the Buckeyes, of course.
Buckeye
Buckeye
right.
State, yeah.
Florida.
Sunshine State.
Nice. Donovan, what's Nebraska?
Cornhuskers.
Yeah. All right, this might be hard. Skylar, do you know what Vermont is?
Oh, man.
This is a little harder.
Can I steal?
Yeah, you should. This is like the Maple Leafs. Like, that's a Canadian. They're basically
That's Canadian.
Canada.
I thought, yeah. Well, I was thinking they're like the Maple State as well. So I'm in the same mind as
They're
you.
not. They are, think of a color and a mountain.
Oh,
They are the...
do the Blue Ridges all go all that?
That's
that
good,
far
but
north?
that's not them. The Green Mountain State.
Oh, okay. Trees, mountains.
All right,
All
I think this can go for anybody. Skylar, maybe you should get it, though. What Spanish explorer was the first European to land in Florida in 1513?
Juan Ponce de Leon.
Yes.
Or actually, there we go.
Yeah, in fact, he was... You know what he was searching for?
It wasn't gold. It was the Fountain of Youth.
Yes. They never found it.
There it is. Yep.
Yep. What is the...
I grew up near
oldest-
St. Augustine. That's an easy one for me.
You were just going to get that. I was going to ask, what's the oldest continuously inhabited European established city in the U.S. located in Florida?
St. Augustine. But did you know that the biggest debate is actually between St. Augustine and Pensacola as to who was actually discovered first? The answer is Pensacola was actually discovered first, but St. Augustine was actually the longest contiguous city in America.
Wow. Huh. I have
Huge
been to
debate
St. Augustine, by the way.
And North Floridians.
Yeah. Wow. It's good to know. I'm glad we're getting involved in the controversy. Makes for a better podcast. All right. I don't know if anybody will get this. So Chimney Rock in Nebraska was a famous landmark for pioneers traveling west on which historic trail?
The Oregon Trail?
Yes. Think 80s video games.
There
Yes,
it
the
is.
Oregon Trail. There you go.
Oh,
Donovan, they're being kind to us here with this trivia.
I don't even know why we're getting all these.
Gets harder. Neil Armstrong, who was the first man to walk on the moon, was born in which Ohio town?
Wapakoneta, Ohio.
Yeah, way to go.
Boom.
fact. I have met Neil Armstrong personally.
Okay.
Yeah, we were at the Adler Planetarium for a private event, actually, in many years ago in Chicago, and we were in the restroom at the same time. I didn't introduce myself till we were out of the restroom, but it was pretty cool to meet Neil Armstrong.
I'm not going to comment further because I don't need a call from HR after this podcast.
I mean, no, it was like, wow, that's Neil Armstrong. I'm going to meet him when we get out. And I met Buzz Aldrin too. It was pretty cool.
I've met Buzz. Very, very nice gentleman.
Yeah. So Nebraska is the only state with what type of legislature?
By our unicameral.
That's right. That's right. So they don't have a Senate and a House. They just have one body, which seems kind of crazy. What famous ice cream company was founded in Vermont in 1978?
It's Ben and Jerry's?
Yeah. Yep, that bastion
Boom.
of liberal ice cream. It's pretty good, though.
It is pretty good.
They're still good.
It is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ohio is known for a certain food that is named after one of its cities. What is it?
It's not
Skyline?
Skyline. Oh, wait. They probably,
Yeah.
actually.
Huh?
Skyline chili?
Yes, we called it Cincinnati chili, but yeah, I think Skyline's definitely appropriate. So, do you know the different ways that you can order Cincinnati or Skyline chili?
I am not a fan. I know it's heresy in Southwest Ohio, but I am not a fan. So I am out of
Donovan,
my...
don't get this one wrong.
Well, you're not from
I'm out of-
Southwest Ohio anyway. You're an Eastern
Mm-mm.
Ohio dude, right?
We eat normal chili out there where I'm from.
Yeah. So they have chili over spaghetti, chili, spaghetti, and cheese, chili, spaghetti, cheese, and onions or beans, chili, spaghetti, cheese, onions, and beans. It's a lot of freedom in your chili choices. So, so Florida is known for a certain type of pie. What is it?
Key lime.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like key lime.
I like key lime pie too. The first record of key lime pie, the recipe at least, was in 1931 in a cookbook from a Key West resident, which seems appropriate, because I always associate key lime pie with Key West.
Well, I'll also tell you the best place you can get key lime pie might surprise everybody, but it's public supermarkets. If you ever in the South, go to a public supermarket and you will get a phenomenal key lime pie.
Do you have a on-the-side lobbying deal with Publix? No.
I should work on that, actually. All good. All such a great Florida company,
I love everybody in Florida loves everything about Florida. It's great.
It's like Texas.
Well, I have 3 kids living in Florida right now. Sad to say.
I'm so proud of you. They understand what freedom really is.
Yeah, one of them's out of college and actually decided to relocate there. I've been talking about it all the time on the podcast. So my daughter, a few year out of college, said, "You know what? Florida's a better deal for me than Illinois. So I'm going to move down there." And she's loving it.
The Communist Republic of Illinois. They escaped for freedom.
We're still fighting the good fight, man. So,
I believe in you guys.
So the Wright brothers are famous for taking their first flight in North Carolina, but they were born in which Ohio city?
Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio, yeah. I don't know if we'll get to this later, but I had the joy in Dayton, talking about flight in Ohio, I had the joy of going to the Wright-Patt base, their Air Force base there, and going to the Air Force Museum, which is outstanding. I mean, as good as Smithsonian or anything. It was amazing. Took some of my boys there, and wow. Highly recommend.
I grew up going. My family's actually originally from the Dayton area, so I grew up going there. It's amazing. There's a lot of history in Dayton, Ohio. Go to Carillon Park and see one of the original Wright Flyers. I actually took my kids there this past summer to go check it out for the first time. Something else.
Nice. Okay, go back to Ohio. What Ohio amusement park is nicknamed the roller coaster capital of the world?
Cedar Point, of course.
Cedar Point.
When you said one state is the vacation capital of the world at the beginning of the podcast, I instantly assumed that's Ohio.
Of course you did.
Yeah, I sure didn't.
The North Coast.
The audience was probably evenly split there. Maybe it was misleading. Yeah,
certainly.
Yeah, that's got to be it.
And then when we talked about the chili, it really sealed it. So
Ohio's tourism numbers are through the roof, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're not bad. Okay, in the summer, Cedar Point, nothing better. Now January, Florida,
because we love that beach at Cedar Point. So, what city in Florida has the most visitors? Speaking of tourism,
ooh, Orlando. Well, technically Kissimmee.
Yeah, we have it as Orlando, but I get the distinction you're making there.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, Donovan. Ohio is home to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What city is it located in?
Canton, Ohio.
That's right. Canton, Ohio. I had the good fortune last week at one of our America's 250th birthday events to have on the podcast. Hopefully everyone can watch it. Hall of Famer Brian Urlacher, former Chicago Bear. And it was a wonderful conversation. Hopefully everybody can check it out. He was a great time, actually. I always thought he was very intimidating when he played football. And when you meet him, he's very intimidating because he's like 4 inches taller than me and much bigger. But he was just a good dude and fun and kind of joked around a lot. But one of the things I loved is when he got up to talk at the event, he said, I don't love giving speeches. The first time I ever gave a real speech was at my enshrinement in my Hall of Fame speech. I was like, it's kind of a baller move.
Just a humble brag. I mean, David, at least you got more hair than he does.
No, I don't. He's done the restore treatment, and it looks good.
Oh, yeah, that's fake though. Doesn't count.
But well, I think it's your real hair. I mean, if you go to, if you ever drive around O'Hare Airport, it's like a joke.
I've seen it.
Oh, there's tons of billboards and they're super funny. I just love it. I think it's, like they say like hair locker, all kinds of stuff like that. It's pretty good time.
Nothing like welcoming you to Chicago than having a bunch of billboards with here's how you can regrow your hair.
Yeah, entrepreneurship. So, all right, what highway connects mainland Florida to Key West?
A1A.
Nice. What is the southernmost point in the continental United States located in Florida?
Key West, but the lowest base is actually even further south in the Dry Tortuga.
Oh, really?
Yeah, go to Dry Tortuga National Park.
That's cool. I'll have to do that. I have been to Key West when I was in college, and it is beautiful and pretty cool.
I love it.
Speaking of southernmost points, what river forms most of Ohio's southern border?
The Ohio River, of course.
The Ohio River, yeah. That's original. There you go.
Yeah. Worth nothing but not creative.
Yeah, well, this one's not creative. This one is creative. What river forms much of Nebraska's southern border with Kansas?
The Nebraska River.
It is not. Nor is it the Kansas River.
I don't know. Or I think it's like the Platte River or something.
No, it's not that. It's the longest river in the United States at 2,315 miles.
Wow, longer than the Mississippi.
But it starts similar to
Rio
the
Grande
Mississippi.
Valley's further south, right?
Missouri River?
Missouri River. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. You just start naming states, you'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I know. Well, so speaking of water in the U.S., what major lake borders Ohio to the north?
We already talked about it, Lake Erie.
Yeah, Lake Erie. More
little
water.
shallow.
What massive wetland ecosystem covers much of southern Florida?
The Everglades.
That's right. Everglades are way more interesting. Yeah,
More alligators than Lake Erie, I think, right?
yeah, I would say so.
Just a few more.
Just a few more. All right.
Hey,
I
we
did
got
not know
Crocs
this.
too there, man.
Do they really?
Yeah, it's the only place in the U.S. or North America that you can see not only alligators but crocodiles as well.
Lots of snakes too.
Lots of big snakes.
So I don't know if you guys knew this, but Vermont was once its own independent republic before joining the U.S. What was it called? It's very imaginative.
The Republic of Vermont.
Or Vermont Republic. Yes, we'll accept that answer.
Thank goodness this isn't Jeopardy. What is?
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys have been good sports with all the trivia. I'm sure there's so many other interesting things to ask. You know what's funny is I listen sometimes to sports radio because I'm of that generation, I suppose, in the Chicago area. And there's a show in the afternoon called Waddle and Sylvie, and it has a former football player who grew up in Ohio. But they play a game, have for years, called Florida or Ohio, and they give some sort of outrageous thing that happened in one of the two states, and you have to guess whether it happened in Ohio or Florida. Like, I always find it so entertaining. It's rarely complimentary, by the way, but I always find it entertaining.
I just don't understand why we didn't do that here. I mean, come on,
know.
throw us some real curveballs.
We could have, I would have really, probably ripping off the idea, but it's not a bad idea. They really are two of the great states, though, in the nation. I mean, obviously two of the larger states, but they're very consequential to the country and, contribute a lot. So, and I'll say, look, for my purposes,
We're not biased, but we think the same.
I'm pretty familiar working at America's Prosperity with the work that you guys are doing. And for our listeners, for what it's worth, these are two of the top state directors, two of the top state leaders that we have in this organization who are just leading big teams, who are really talented, working at the political level, or the U.S. Senate, the state legislative, gubernatorial, but also passing legislation historic legislation that's leading the way in the country. And then also, building these grassroots communities with their teams that are really effective and allow us to help pass that great policy to make people's lives better. So I appreciate you guys doing this and talking to us. But I kind of moving away from some of the trivia. Donovan, I'm pretty familiar with some of the stuff you guys have been doing to reduce regulation based on different episodes and folks that we've had from Ohio on the show. But What are some of the things, what are totality of the things that you guys are working on in Ohio to try to make people's lives better?
Well, one of the things that we launched a few years ago is our Buckeye Blueprint. That's our plan to move Ohio from middle in the Midwest to number one in the nation. And we've taken our team, staff and activists, supporters have taken a really serious look at what it's going to take to do that here in Ohio. And you get great states like Florida, right? There's a reason it's called the free state of Florida. And it's not because folks are just hanging out, enjoying the beaches. There's folks like Skylar and the AFP Florida team that for a long time have been working really hard to pass bold policies that move the state, make it a top 10 state for economic opportunity, education, and otherwise. And we can do that here in Ohio. We've been doing that, right? We just recently, our most recent budget moved Ohio to a flat income tax, second lowest in the nation, lowest in the Midwest, puts us on a great trajectory to get to that 0% rate we ought to be at. We've got school choice. We were one of the early states on school choice. I think we rested on our laurels after about 20 years, but we've got great champions advocating for that here in Columbus. The regulation and red tape, as you mentioned, but I think one of the big things that's a challenge that our team is validating on is the amount of government we have in the state. Believe it or not, David, your home state of Illinois is only a few notches above us, and the amount of government that it has. Here in Ohio, we have the sixth most political subdivisions, and we're shining a light on that and zeroing in on what it's going to take to help deliver more freedom here in the Buckeye State. So we've got a lot of work to do here in Ohio, but appreciate the kudos. Our team is committed to helping deliver and make Ohio a bolder, better Buckeye State for everyone. And then we'll start to see folks relocate to the North Coast of the United States rather than going to the Gulf of America, as so many Ohioans find themselves doing.
We can all hope for that. That's great. Yeah, no, I'm actually, we had worked together for a number of years, and I've always keep an eye on Ohio, and I'm so proud of the work. I mean, with the organization you built there and the work that you guys are doing, and there's some, with this governor's race and other things coming on there, maybe is, even more opportunity to supercharge that to the benefit of folks in the Buckeye State. So I'm pretty excited about what you and your team are doing. So, Skylar, what's going on in Florida? There's never really much going on in Florida, right?
No, always busy. It's not like we've got a president flying down every weekend to come hang out and enjoy the sunshine that the free state has to offer. But we've been very busy trying to make sure that, Florida's as free as possible. So when those folks who retire from Ohio and Illinois want to come down and enjoy the nice warm weather in the Gulf of America, they can any day of the week. But I'll tell you, Donovan and his team are constantly pushing, so it's an honor to be on with him. The innovation that their team brings is really exciting and always fun to hear about, and it gives us an opportunity to do the same. Iron sharpens iron, and so I really appreciate his ideas that he brings to the forefront. And two, look, housing's at the top of the spear for us. As Florida continues to expand and grow year in and year out, 1,000 people a day are moving to Florida continuously, and so we have to be prepared for that. And what that brings is a housing crisis, an insurance crisis, and a crisis when it comes to ensuring we have energy affordability long term for the state. And so we're working really hard to address those issues day in and day out with permitting reform on the housing front, making sure that we have insurers in place that are stable, that won't bankrupt our state is incredibly important to us because, our fiscal trajectory is incredibly healthy right now, and we don't want to be put on the back end in any way, shape, or form when it comes to fiscal policy. And so those are just a few of the things that we want to tackle and continue to focus on. Freedom is never done. We're never done fighting for it. And we wake up every single day, and it's a pleasure that we get to do so at Americans for Prosperity.
Yeah, I really agree with that. It's been fun doing some of this America's 250th birthday programming and participating in some of the events. I really have been reflecting on the fact that, freedom is really the key to us being, empowered to go and pursue our American dream. We're talking this month a lot about the pursuit of happiness, and really the essence there is, we need freedom and liberty to allow us to be able to go and pursue our American dreams and pursue happiness. And the founders saw that, and I think that there's such a difference when we look at different states and how people or how, governments even interact with its people. And I think, your states are doing a great job and really moving in an even better direction in empowering folks to just go and, take that opportunity to go pursue their dreams and pursue happiness. And that's why my daughter moved down to Florida, I suppose. But and then you got other states where it's more of a fight, like my home state right now of Illinois. And but I'm really, it's been fun to watch, to talk about all the examples of individuals. We talk about our One Small Step campaign, of individuals stepping up and taking that step to try to change their community or their state or even their nation. And, but for that, we would never have seen so many of the great things that have happened in this nation, making the greatest country in the world. And it's been a fun time. I hope that all of us can keep, as we go through this year of the 250th anniversary of our country, that we kind of keep thinking about that and kind of rededicate our efforts to, keeping this the greatest country in the world. Well, guys, you're definitely doing your parts for sure.
No, thank you for that. And thank you for having us on. And I'll tell you, one of the things, David, I love about Florida is how diverse we are. You talk about the melting pot and how America was founded. I mean, between the military communities, the influx of Latin American individuals and Europeans into Florida, it's always exciting to hear the new ideas that they have and they want to bring to our country. And so having a low regulatory environment's really been awesome, and hearing their stories is incredible. So thank you guys for sharing those and the One Small Step campaign, and then also on this podcast.
Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you bringing your trivia knowledge. You guys did really well. You know your states. We didn't give you the questions beforehand, so I'm pretty impressed. So way to go.
And, I can't believe we didn't have any questions about the Conch Republic. Key West is ceded from the United States. We didn't even talk about it.
Well, I did have something I didn't go into, but you want to tell the quick story?
Well, look, the Key West basically got tired of a lot of different things that the federal government was pushing down, so they seceded for a total of 8 hours from the United States and became the Conch Republic. And once they were threatened immediately by the federal government's quick response, they decided to join the Union again.
As I said, I've been to Key West. I do not know how well they would hold out against the federal government.
Hey, man, it was the 80s. It was a heck of a time.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thanks, guys. We really appreciate you joining. So, folks, if you like this episode and would like to stay connected with the podcast, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, as well as following us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And always remember, liberty and freedom are easily taken for granted. Don't take it for granted. Go out there and defend liberty and freedom. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to American Potential. You may listen to more stories from Americans working every day to expand freedom and opportunity in their communities by visiting AmericanPotential.com.